Well, for more, we can speak to France 24's Europe editor Catherine Nicholson. Hello to you, Catherine.
Hi.
We were just listening to the press conference moments ago. This is big news for Ukraine.
It really is. This is something that Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been pushing very hard for since the Russian invasion on February 24th. Ursula von der Leyen there wearing Ukrainian colours to make this announcement and saying that Ukrainians are ready to die for a European perspective, for their European dream, and we have to allow them to try and fulfil that. And so, as you rightly said there, this is the European Commission, the executive branch of the European Union, giving this recommendation that this candidate status be granted and the process towards membership gets kicked off. This is not the final word on that, however. That goes to the heads of state of the 27 members of the European Union. We're talking Emmanuel Macron, Olaf Scholz of Germany, and so on. They are getting together next week for a European summit, and they will be asked whether they agree with this recommendation by the Commission or not. And it does have to be a unanimous decision from all those member states.
And if that does happen, if there's that unanimous decision, what's next?
A lot of work for Ukraine. Ursula von der Leyen underlining this. She said important work remains. It must be done by the book. She's talking about reforms in so many areas of Ukrainian society. And this is something that she's saying, quite rightly, all EU member state candidates do have to go through. They have to essentially tick off different boxes of meeting different requirements. For example, fighting corruption, having a free and independent media, a free and independent judiciary, getting rid of political interference in all sorts of areas, ensuring the basic rights of all citizens are met, including and perhaps especially minorities. Now, the Ukrainians have been saying, look, we're ready to do this work, and even more so since the Russian invasion. But it isn't a quick process. And I think it was quite interesting that she said this will be done by the book, perhaps indicating that there's not going to be any kind of acceleration for Ukraine in the actual process of gaining that membership. Gaining the candidate status, I think we can say, has been drastically sped up for Ukraine. But it seems that she's saying, we are going to be ticking off every box, dotting every I and crossing every T.
Let's go back to that unanimous decision. We don't know what's going to happen when they meet next week at that summit, but we do know that EU members were already divided over Ukraine.
That's certainly true, yeah. We had, for example, Poland has been one of the great proponents of Ukraine getting as much support as possible from the European Union in every single way. More weapons, more financial aid, help with refugees, and this faster membership or candidacy status. Also, the Baltic states have been joining in with that. States that, formerly under Soviet occupation and have very strong and clear recent memories of what that meant to them. However, in terms of what you might call old Europe, the sort of founder members of the European Union, France, Germany, the Netherlands, reticence from some of those leaders. Emmanuel Macron was one of them, the French president. He was saying, he wants Ukraine to be given a European perspective as soon as possible, but he was talking about perhaps giving some kind of secondary status, not quite full membership, some association with the EU, but not all of the rights and responsibilities of a member state. That's not what the Commission is recommending here. They are saying that they're giving a recommendation that the process towards full regular membership it be granted, so the same as any of the other member states currently of the European Union.
And that wasn't the only announcement. Ursula von der Leyen also weighing in on two other countries.
That's right, yes. So Moldova, also a recommendation there that the European heads of state grant Moldova this official candidate status at that summit. She said that, Moldova is on a pro-reform and anti-corruption path for the first time since independence. A pro-European president was elected just a couple of years ago, making a big push, much like Ukraine, towards closer partnership and membership eventually of the European Union. She underlined there, for example, there are important reforms to be done in terms of administration, economy, talking about the financial sector, fraud within banks. There are many areas that will be scrutinised. The other country that we're mentioning, Georgia, in the Caucasus, now they're not recommending that candidate status be granted for Georgia at this point. The Commission saying that Georgia has to meet a few conditions before that status be granted. But they said the application has strength, but in Georgia, the political parties have to come together. They have to come together with a clear path of reforms, and then it will come back for this to see if this recommendation will be granted. So there will be disappointment in Georgia about that. Georgia was invaded by Russia in 2008. There are two regions of Georgia that have declared themselves pro-Russian breakaway regions since then. So it will be disappointing for Georgia, but perhaps not surprising because those political divisions in that country have been quite evident for some time.
All right, Catherine, thank you very much. Catherine Nicholson, France 24's Europe editor.